right, y'all, I'm back. So we're here. Moving on. I wanted to have a conversation about why I do not film therapy content. This is for my YouTube audience. I do talk about therapy sometimes over on my IG, but not enough to where it would be like this is a therapy page. I just personally want to share my thoughts on that. I don't do it because I feel like therapy is very sacred and important and should not be trivialized or made light of. I understand psychoeducation. I understand wanting to give people enough so that they can kind of buy into the process. But I just feel like certain shit just need to be revered. And that's for all professions. And I'm not even just saying for therapy or, behavioral health services in general. Like, lawyers need to come up off of Instagram and social media like that. Doctors, all those people need to come up off the internet, because it just, like I said, trivializes the seriousness of what therapists, lawyers, doctors, and whoever else does. I think entertainment should be left to entertainment or entertainers. I do not think that we should be getting on these sites and, telling different story times about different patients and client situations. I don't think we need to be on here to discuss or react to stuff. Also, too, I just feel it's not safe. Because people are taking in the stuff and they're not really understanding the nuances that come with it. So everything on here is very polarized. So if I say that people are doing people pleasing or what I want to say, manipulative, that to the people who are trained hear that and they're like, okay, yeah, it makes sense. But people who are not trained are now in your comments, and now your comments are on fire for the next 6 weeks because a lot of people don't have that understanding. They don't know the nuance of it. So I think it's just, to me, I just stay away from it if I can. I just think it's not a place for me to go. Also, people in the parasocial relationships that are built from this are very tricky, especially when all of us, therapy, doctors and lawyers and things, we have code of ethics that we have to go by, and you really should not really give as much access to the general public as you do, because it's already difficult, especially for people who work in rural communities or urban communities, where things are either very close knit or very spread out and things like that. Like, it's difficult to live in real life with having to see a client or a patient or whatever at this grocery store. Now you on TikTok or whatever, and now you got 50,000 people who think they can come to you, whatever, think they can be this and talk to you any kind of way because they built up this relationship with you through your content, and it's just not safe, so I really try to avoid sharing any therapy stuff or telling people anything therapy related, just because I know people's brains ain't all there. They just not all there. Also, too, when we get into the ethics of it, which is the last piece of this, because I didn't want this video to be too long because the other one was dumb long. Like the ethics part, and people calling credentialing boards, people calling licensing boards, if you say something that does not make sense to them or does not agree with them. Also, people who are very jealous or weird will view your content, chop it up, take it out of context, and reach out to the board. So now the board has to decide if you can continue. Your job has to decide if you can continue. I just feel like you need to have more discernment in what you share and what you don't share. Like, a lot of people, I have my license and stuff in my bio, or, if you're going to use it, it needs to be for marketing and just kind of marketing what your services are, and leave it at that. Don't get into the reactions. Don't get into the hot tops, because your job could be affected by it. And though it's not fair, that's just what it is. We did see that young lady a few years ago, got on here, was telling black men they need to go to therapy and this, and she turned around and lost her job behind something that's true. But again, like I said, it just wasn't the appropriate format or appropriate forum or platform, to share those views and things like that. And that's where supervision comes in as well. A lot of us need to be making use of supervision. It can be expensive, or if you don't have it already through your job, please talk to your supervisor. If you're thinking about trying to do therapeutic content, like what works within their organization. If you are a solo practitioner, please read your board of ethics. Everybody should have access to that. Read over what social media policies and procedures they got, because like I said, a lot of people don't know that you don't know that, so that you make use of your ignorance in that. So just, if you want to get into the making the therapy content, make sure that you're reading those things and you're compliant with those things, because if not, you ain't gonna have no job and you ain't gonna have no license. So now you didn't spend 100K to get this license and this job, and now you can't even do it because of social media. You know what I mean? And I know everybody's like, well, oh, I'll go fund me, or my support. It's like, nah, sister, it ain't it. Not in this climate. It's not tea. So that's why I do not do therapy content. I do talk about therapy, my clients know, but I don't get on the internet and profess to be this certain type of therapist, or, oh, I'm therapist Koren, let's talk about this. Because like I said, I don't have time for it. I don't work real hard for what I got, and I'm not giving it to y'all just because it's a kiki and a cackle here on the internet. And I really believe in this, how sacred it is, that what I do for my clients. So I would never, put myself out like that. In ways you can do it, like I said, marketing for sure. You want to put your license, your practice, or that you're taking in new clients, for sure. If you want to post a little cute meme or something like that, a little educational meme, and go about your business. I wouldn't even get into the talking to people. Honestly, the talking content is the best content, but honestly, sweetheart, it's not worth it if you ain't gonna have no job to talk about. Okay? So I will see you guys on the next one. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. And I will see you guys next week.